You know, I wish somebody gave me this video 5 years ago when I was stuck at 10K a month. I was struggling so hard as a copywriter and I wanted to make more money. I considered offer publishing. I considered becoming a marketing director. I considered building my own offer. And with the one concept I'm about to share with you today, I was able to take my income from 10K a month as a copywriter to $25,000 a month as a copywriter, working just a couple hours a day from a coffee shop in Japan, in the Philippines, in Italy. I was traveling the world, having a great life. And I really want to share this concept with you because I see so many copywriters struggling to make more money and even considering abandoning the career completely, saying, let's not be copywriters, let's be marketing directors, or let's do something else. You don't need to do that. You can make $25,000 just from copy, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. Now, if you're not an active copywriter working with clients, I don't think this video is going to be that useful for you yet, because there are a lot more fundamental concepts like how to write copy and how to close your first client. I would recommend that you go focus on those things first, because what I'm about to talk about in this video, it is simple, but it isn't something that you can immediately implement if you have no idea what copywriting even is. I'm talking to copywriters in this video who are making $5,000, $8,000, $10,000, maybe even $15,000. If you're making that kind of income, but you're frustrated and you're stuck and you want to get to that next level, this concept is going to change the way that you see your business, and it's also going to change how much money you make. We actually just finished wrapping up from a shoot today where we recorded an interview with one of the top copywriters in the dojo. His name's Yasin, and you can check his interview on our channel. I was interviewing him and I was asking him what he did to make $29,000 last month. And we talked about a lot of cool concepts, and you can go watch the video somewhere on the channel. I'll link it here. Camera guy, link it here, please. Not this side. Probably this side, as usual. But yeah, what we were talking about was very interesting, and there was one thing we didn't talk about, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And it's one of the reasons that Yasin is making $29,000 a month. It's also one of the reasons why a lot of the other copywriters I coach make over $20,000 every single month. It's the concept of systems thinking. Now, systems are very, very different to a strategy. If you want to think of client getting, you want to think there's like lots of different ways to get clients, and we cover those on the channel as well. There's another video you can go and check out where there's 12 different ways to get clients, and I talk about each one in detail. All the copywriters in the dojo that are making $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, even more than that, even $40,000, $50,000, they understand this concept of systems thinking instead of just focusing on a strategy. So let's get into this. So what is a system? A system is a sequence of steps in a certain order to get a desired outcome in the most efficient way possible, ideally, right? So an ideal system will take you from step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, result. In this case, with copywriting, to get a client, you will go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, client. Now, each different strategy to get clients has a different system, but most copywriters don't really understand the idea of a system. They're just focused on the strategy. For example, doing cold outreach. You could send 200 emails, but if you don't understand the system behind getting a client from cold email, you could send thousands of emails before getting any attention. I'll break it down for you. To do cold emailing, you need a cold email inbox that is set up correctly. That is step 1. Step 2 is to look for prospects that are ideal for the kind of services that you're offering as a copywriter that need your help right now and are big enough to actually be able to pay you. That is step 2. Step 3 would be to make sure that you write an email that is compelling, that is interesting, and that actually gets their attention. And then step 4 and step 5 and step 6, there's a little bit more detail, it depends on what you put in your email, what you offer. Maybe you do a video, maybe you offer something else, maybe you make a direct pitch. There's a couple of steps there. And then when they reply, how do you respond to the reply to get them on the phone? Get them on the phone, that's the next step. And then once you get them on the phone, you got to get them to actually want to work with you and then get them to actually pay you. So there are many steps of the process. Now, what most copywriters don't understand is that they try something like, let's say cold email, they try cold emailing, they don't get any results, and then they say the system's flawed, the system doesn't work. But what actually happened is that one of the steps in the system is not working. They didn't get one thing right. And that one thing in the system broke the entire system. For example, you could be a brilliant copywriter, you could have great results, you could be targeting the right people, you could have a great message, but if your emails are landing in spam, you're not going to get any responses from a business owner. So even if you have a brilliant strategy, if you miss anything in step 1 of the cold email system, you are not going to be able to close clients, even if it's a very, very small thing. And that's how systems work. So with my clients, we have 12 different systems that we've figured out over the last 5 years that work very, very well to close clients. And within each strategy, there are steps, and you have to follow every single step. So when I work with copywriters, I say, okay, cool, choose a system. Choose one of the 12 systems, right? Choose one of these 12 systems. Cool, you chose the cold email system, great. Now let's look at the cold email system, and let's look at the steps in the cold email system and make sure we follow each step correctly. And then what happens is the copywriter will go and take action. And let's say they get from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, and at step 4 something breaks. Then we identify this is the break. Aha, okay. So at step 4 the system broke. Therefore, this is not a bad strategy. The strategy works, but we have to fix something at step 4. Let's identify what the problem is and let's fix it. And then now the copywriter goes from step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7. Let's say the step 7 is the sales call. It's like, cool, so the sales call, you're not closing people on the sales call. Fix that step, and then the whole process is all smooth, and then you start closing clients. And it works with all those systems. So every single one of the 12 client getting systems work, but it's within each of those systems, one of the steps might break. And it always happens, because if you've never done it before, you still have to master the system. You still have to make the system smooth. You still have to make the system work. It's the same with like traveling somewhere, right? If you want to go on a plane from America to Japan, at the airport, they have a system, they have a process to make sure that every passenger that gets in the plane gets safely to the destination. And every single step has to be followed correctly to ensure everybody's safety, right? That is how everything works in life. Everything is about systems. Everything has to work smoothly in a system. And yet for some reason, people just completely abandon systems in copywriting. Like this client getting strategy, they completely abandon the strategy before they even investigate to see, hey, maybe the strategy is fine, but maybe it's a step within the strategy. It's a step within the system that is broken. And once you get this concept of systems and start thinking about systems, you will start to make a lot more money, because before you abandon any idea or before you abandon any strategy, you will first break it down into its elements, into a system, and figure out like what steps need to go where and how do you go through each of these steps. And that is the number one thing that has changed my life, because when I wanted to get to $25,000 a month, I realized there must be a system to get there, because other copywriters are making this kind of money. So all I had to do was look at those copywriters and say, what are the systems that these copywriters follow every single day that make them $25,000 a month? And how can I get those systems and use them myself? And if I'm not following the system correctly, I will pay somebody to help me identify which part of the system I'm following correctly. And that's really it. It's really as simple as that. It's like, figure out what the system is, figure out what steps are in the system, and then follow the steps. And then you're gonna get the result. And if anything breaks in the process, just look at that section where it broke. I'll give you one more example. So there's a copywriter I coach who was really struggling with getting clients from job applications. This is one of the 12 strategies I talk about in the dojo. Yeah, he was really, really struggling to get clients. And I said to him, okay, break it down for me. Break down the steps. You followed this step, then you took this step, then you took this step, then you took this step. And he's like, yeah, I got all the way to here. And I said, okay, so you're at the interview phase and you've had a lot of interviews, but you haven't closed any clients, but you're getting interviews. So you're definitely at this step in the process where you're getting interviews. So why are you not closing clients? There must be something happening at that step of the process that is the gap. And so we investigated, we thought about it. I was like, what is the missing piece? It's like, aha, it's something he was saying in the interviews. And what he was saying was he was telling his clients or his potential clients, my vision for myself is to become a big business owner and to run multiple companies and to be multimillionaire and build all this stuff. And he kept getting people say to him, like, we really enjoyed the interview, we really enjoyed chatting with you, but you're not culture fit for the team. It's like, well, of course, because you keep telling everybody that you want to leave the team as soon as you can become an entrepreneur. So let's stop saying that on the sales call, right? Let's start saying you're committed to a vision, you want to improve your skills, you want to work with some of the best businesses in the world, and you want to master your skill of copywriting, and just focus on 1 or 2 clients. We changed that, closed the client, just like that. And that's really it. It's actually that simple. It's like, I can give you every single system to close clients. I can tell you, here are the 12 systems, but you have to diagnose which step is broken for you. And a lot of the time, the step that's broken is not even part of the actual strategy. The very first step in most systems is you. And you could be struggling because in your mind, you don't believe that you deserve to work with big clients. You don't deserve to work with a client that pays $6,000 or $8,000 a month. And so before you even start the system, you're already setting yourself up for failure. And that's usually the biggest gap in most systems. So every strategy works. Every way to close premium copy deals is possible if you follow a system correctly, step by step, and you're able to identify which step is missing from the process and work on your identity to make sure that you don't cower back or run away from really, really good deals that could change your life. And if you want to learn more about that and you want to improve and see what's possible and how you can make a lot more money, that interview I did with Yasin will be really, really useful because we talked about exactly what you need to do to make a lot more money as a copywriter, the headspace you need to have, the perspective on the industry, and what is required to make $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 every single month from copywriting. So go watch that video and I'll see you soon. Concept I'm about to share with you a few years ago. Somebody gave me what I'm about to give you in detail, but why?